Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Hastings and members of the committee. My name is Brian Cebull, and I'm a third-generation Montana native. Although I have spent my entire 20-year professional career in the oil and gas business, I'm here today representing myself as a Montana landowner and a Montana sportsman. My wife and I own a unique ranch located in Carbon County, only 1 hour south of Billings. Grove Creek Ranch consists of our deeded acres plus over 15,000 acres of BLM grazing leases and contains a healthy population of sage grouse, a very active population of grizzly bears, and an occasional wolf. I've included a few photos of these bears for your entertainment in my written testimony. My experiences and those of my tenants in dealing with grizzly bears highlight the flaws of the current ESA process and the need to keep species such as the greater sage grouse off of that list. To summarize my observations and those of my tenants regarding how the ESA affects our ranch operations, when it comes to dealing with problem bears, the top-down and centralized approach of the current ESA management lacks common sense and doesn't work in Montana. More authority to address problem animals and habitat needs to be placed in the hands of local personnel, including ranchers and landowners. The ranchers and landowners know best how to manage their own land. Those in charge of administering the ESA should have the ability to change and adapt local management plans as necessary. With the increasing grizzly bear population in our area, we have seen outdated management plans that are resulting in ever-increasing bear-human livestock conflicts. Based on the staggering 27 individual grizzly bears that biologists estimate to live along a 20-mile span of the Beartooth Mountains near our ranch, and the expectation that this number is increasing, I have concluded myself that politics and not science is influencing these grizzly bear population estimates in order to maintain pressure to keep the bear on the list. All too often, the determination to list or to remain on the list is being made by federal judges instead of scientists. The ESA and the decision to list or delist should be based on sound science and not politics. The ESA is a hammer. It's a threat that is constantly held over the head of all private landowners and groups that utilize public lands either for recreation or for their livelihood. The heavy-handed do this or else style of the ESA will create a disincentive among those affected local groups and will result in the opposite effect of what was intended by the Act. The ESA has become a listing tool that restricts activities and not a management tool for the recovery of species. Since it became law in 1973, over 2,000 species have been listed as endangered and only 20 species have been removed from the list due to population recovery. The ESA has become a tool for pseudo-environmental groups to hinder economic development and recreational activities on both public and private lands. The potential listing of this greater sage grouse under the ESA is already affecting our ranch operations, and based on our experiences with the already listed grizzly bear, it is in everyone's best interest to take steps to keep them off the list. We are under continuous pressure to reduce our AUMs on our grazing allotments already to enhance sage grouse habitat. Responsible rotational grazing practices actually improve the health of the land and the forage available for wildlife, including sage grouse. There's little doubt that a listing of the sage grouse will result in immediate pressure to stop all grazing on public lands in critical habitat areas. The top-down, heavy-handed, and centralized approach to management that we see with the grizzly bear lacks common sense and will not work with sage grouse. Landowners like myself and local groups such as Sage Grouse Montana are already working voluntarily to improve the habitat for sage grouse and other species on our private property and are working with the BLM to ensure responsible grazing rotations on our public lands. These grassroots efforts to protect sage grouse will almost certainly come to a stop if the bird is listed. As a lifelong hunter and as president of the Montana chapter of Safari Club International, the listing of sage grouse will have a profound impact on our hunting heritage in Montana for all species. In addition to the loss of sage grouse as a game bird, hunters will lose access to thousands of acres of private and public lands that they have used for generations. The critical habitat areas that will be shut down or have severely restricted access are any areas that are suitable habitat and won't even require sage grouse to be present on them. The ESA has and will continue to have a profound impact on Montanans and our way of life. We have seen the politically motivated management of listed species such as wolves and grizzlies result in dramatic declines in big game populations, resulting in lost hunting opportunities and devastating impacts to local businesses. Future ESA listings, such as the possible listing of sage grouse, will have similar negative impacts on both public and private lands and those who rely on these lands both for recreation and for their livelihood. I strongly encourage you to focus on local control and voluntary efforts to restore sage grouse habitat and to do everything in your power in Congress to make sure the the greater sage-grouse does not get listed under the ESA. Please help me ensure that the ESA can no longer be used as a tool for fringe environmental groups to dictate how we live and work in Montana. There is a new war in the West, and it's a war on our traditional Montana values.